So kung di outdated, kulang naman sa nuance. Puro based on experience. So in this episode, pag-uusapan natin yung body recomposition tsaka kung sinasabi ng science regarding body recomposition protocols. Kasi in the past years, lagi tayo nakakarinig ng mga advice from someone na although nag-succeed naman sila sa body recomposition, pero based on their experience lang. So kapag tinanong natin konteksto, strategy, approach na ginamit nila, hindi natin alam kung mag-work ba sa atin. Or minsan, nare-recognize natin na hindi ata yun yung para sa atin. So, the reason why pinoint out ko yung being outdated or less nuanced, it's because gusto ko siguro i-emphasis kung ano yung hierarchy of scientific evidence na dapat natin paniwalaan. Ang pinaka nasa baba ngayon ay, or yung pinaka nasa baba ngayon ay mga opinion letters, papers, case reports. Actually, yung mga personal insights ko, medyo mababa yung quality niyan or mababa siya sa hierarchy in terms of the scientific evidence. So, ang pinakamataas talaga yung meta-analysis or yung mga systematic reviews. Then, kasunod yan, mga randomized trials and cohort studies. So, ngayon, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon ay ano yung highest evidence or strongest evidence that we can lean on in terms of body recomposition. At saka bakit natin pinag-uusapan yung body recomposition? It's because marami yung nakakausap na tao na ito yung mga usually na sinasabi nila. Okay naman yung upper body nila, tiyan lang talaga yung panira ng figure at appearance nila. Nag-cut daw sila before, nag-bulk na rin sila, wala daw nangyari. Parang when they do cutting, na-solve naman yung isang problema pero nag-persist naman yung isa pang problema. When they do bulking, nag-gain nga sila ng muscles pero lumaki din yung belly fat level sila. Yun yung gusto nga nilang tanggalin. So, muscular sila pero malaki yung chan nila. So, they recognize sa tingin nila may mali silang ginagawa. Okay naman daw sa aling pormahan, panira lang daw talaga yung chan. Tapos tingin naman nila sa mga sarili nila, hindi naman sila mataba. Pero ang lambot ng katawan nila. Tingnan. So for this episode, ang pag-uusapan natin, what are the best approach for body recomposition? Dahil hindi na usapan dito if it's working. Ang usapan dito, kanino siya nag-work at kung gaano siya katagal bago mo ma-achieve. So for those people na bago lang dito, my name is Coach Ja Agkawili. So isa akong exercise science educator. By profession, isa akong licensed professional teacher. And I've been teaching exercise and sports science for the past 12 years. Mainly, physical education tinuturo ko. Nagturo na rin sa mga universities like Ateneo, PUP, and FEU. And sa mga some high schools din na may mga fitness and exercise science curriculum. So independently akong nagtuturo ngayon. I hold webinars, paid workshops, speakerships about exercise science and fitness. And dito sa Keep It Legit Podcast, ito yung nagiging platform ko kung saan nagbabagsak ako ng mga relevant topics about fitness and exercise science. So I treat this as like a professional development platform. So, yun yung ginagawa ko para sa mga baguhan dito. And hello sa mga lagi na ikinig ng podcast natin. So, yeah, tara, let's move on. So, ano yung konsepto ng body recomposition? So, napakasimple ng body recomposition. Simultaneously, nagigain ka ng muscles while losing fat. So, hindi by isolation yung weight loss, hindi rin by isolation yung muscle gain. Both happening at the same time. At hindi basta-basta siya usapang calories in versus calories out. So, ang gusto natin ma-achieve sa body recomposition ay, number one, we carry more muscles than fat. Dahil carrying more fat increases our health risk. So, very common knowledge naman sa atin yan. And ang nagiging rich and strong evidence ngayon ay kapag mas mataas yung muscle mass mo, predictor siya na less or lower yung risk mo magkaroon ng mga sakit. So in short, gaining muscles might be next to the closest thing to the fountain of youth. So again, is it working? Hindi na yung usapan. Para kanino siya? At gaano siya katagal mag-work? So what the research said in the past about body recomposition is nag-work lang daw siya sa mga novice beginners at saka sa mga lean people na, experience na. At ang sabi sa research ay resistance training and cardio are the two training tools para ma-achieve mo siya. Tapos kailangan daw, mataas daw yung protein intake mo. So, totoo pa ba ito? Or there's more? So, yun yung didiscuss ko sa inyo. So, meron tayong 5 parts dito sa episode natin. Una yung training status, tsaka yung body recomposition, yung nutrition approach, yung mga non-training and non-nutrition factors na kailangan nating tingnan, yung mga measurement considerations kasi we're trying to measure if we're losing fat and gaining muscles. So, importante yung mga tools on how to measure those variables. And of course, yung personal insight ko sa inyo. Okay, so first, who can achieve body recomposition? So, una, yung training status and body recomposition. So, based on research, yung training status mo ay isa sa mga big or strong predictors kung magpo-progress ka ba sa body recomposition. So, ang sinasabi dito, beginners and novice tend to have or be at the best, in the best window para mag-body recomposition. Okay, yung mga intermediate, yung mga around 1 to 3 to 2 years of training, achievable, pero kailangan nila taasan yung protein intake nila. Kapag experience ka na, like advanced, elite, more than 3 years ka na nag-workout and bubuhat ka na ng weights, mas nagiging mahirap yung body recomposition but still possible. Pero ito yung isa sa mga bago. Yung mga returning from the training or yung mga matagal na tigil then babalik ulit sa training, meron kayong temporary beginner-like response. Meaning to say, yung response mo is quietly similar sa kung ano yung response ng mga beginners and novice sa body recomposition. Okay, so yun yung training status. Tapos, pang terms of muscle gain, of course, as you get experience, less yung numbers na pwede mo kuha in terms of gaining muscles. But regardless, kahit hindi significant yung number, for example, 300 grams lang yung pagitan ng beginner versus advanced. Pero kita niyo naman siguro kung gaano kadami yung 300 grams ng lean mass, di ba? Kapag, for example, nagtitimbang kayo ng beef, nagtitimbang kayo ng chicken breast, may kita niyo kung gaano kadami yung 300 grams. Then spread out yung fibers dun sa buong katawan nyo. So, practically significant maybe, pero statistically hindi siya kita as significant. So, yung mga ideal conditions for body recomposition, una-una, yung mga, of course, yung mga bata pa, yung mga youth, like me. Okay? So, mas observable yung body recomposition sa males, pero promising pa rin results sa mga females. Beginner and the trained status, kayo yung nasa best window niyan. Okay. Higher starting body fat percentage through endogenous energy. So, meaning to say, yung mga matataas yung body fat levels or yung mga nasa obese category, kahit hindi kayo sobrang mag-calorie deficit, building muscles will inherently cause you to lose fat. Kasi building muscles naturally cause fat loss, kahit hindi ka pa explicitly nagda-diet. So, yung endogenous energy na nagagaling from the fat, nagagamit mo siya to build muscles. Nagagamit mo siya to sustain your self-energy so that you can sustain more volume in training. Dahil nga, pag mas mataas yung training volume, mas marami kang muscle growth na potentially pwedeng mag-grow. It also works for people na inaayos na nila yung way of eating nila, who eats well and has optimized nutrition. Kakastart mo lang sa supplements like yung whey, creatine, yun yung mga 2 of the best supplements na pwede mong i-take or i-stock along with you. Yung mga okay yung tulog, yung mga taong marunong mag-manage ng stress. Okay, hindi kayo impulsive, hindi kayo passive. You deliberately and actively respond to stress positively. And most of all, sa mga consistent. Hindi lang siya ideal for 2 people. Competitive bodybuilders, bakit? Kasi since time factor ay importante rin when it comes to participating in bodybuilding. So, hindi pwedeng matagal ka mag-prep ng sobra kasi due to mental state and adherence. So, medyo maikli yung mga preps like minimum of 9 months maybe if you want to build more muscle. And if you want to lose fat, minimum 6 months. Yan yung mga leeways of preparing. So, if you're gonna do body recomposition, ang nakikita ko dito, baka mabitin ka sa prep mo. Nag-gain ka ng muscles but nag-lose ka ng fat pero hindi mo na-maximize pareho. So, pagdating sa competition, kulang ka. And not ideal din siya for lean people. Dahil, yun nga, the less fat you have, the more conservative yung body mo dun sa fat na yun. Kasi kailangan pa rin ng body mo ng essential fat to operate normally. So, pwedeng lean, mas mabagal yung progress. Pero, if lean ka na, baka di mo na kailangan masyadong mag-body recomp. You might choose either fat loss or muscle gain na diretso. Mamimili ka na ng isang goal. So, training approach dito ay you have to reassess every 8 to 10 weeks. Kasi based dun sa review ko ng research, nag-average around 8 to 10 weeks yung mga studies. So, more than 12 weeks, hindi natin alam kung ano yung result ng body recomposition for now. Pero nakikita study na within 8 to 10 weeks, may recomposition o may observed recomposition nangyayari both in male and females. So, may study nga na hindi ni-report yung nutrition basta't nagre-resistance training sila, nagre-recompose daw sila. Tapos nung kinontrol na yung nutrition, mas lalong nag-recompose. And mag-focus tayo sa mechanical tension. Hindi to sa metabolic stress or muscle damage, mechanical tension. Ang importante, mahirapan yung muscles natin to sustain or to overcome specific resistance, whether additional weight or additional reps. Progressive overload dapat din, and kung kaya, high volume training, at least 10 to 12 weekly sets per muscle group yung mabigay niyong training bawat muscle group. And training close to failure. So, kailangan mahirap din yung mga sets na ginagawa ninyo. That's for resistance training. Pagdating naman sa cardio, okay, magandang kapartner talaga ng resistance training ng cardio on top of nutrition para ma-improve mo yung body recomposition mo. Kasi yung cardio enhances fat oxidation. Yung fat oxidation sinasabi dito, basically that's a fat burning process. O yung tinatawag nilang lipolysis. However, nangyayari naman to kapag low intensity and long duration yung activity na ginagawa ng katawan. Whether exercise or basic daily movement lang. Pero the point here is, kahit na sabi natin ino-oxidize ng katawan mo yung mga fat stores mo, if yung calorie intake mo ay sobra, i-replenish lang din ulit ng katawan mo ng fat, yung mga fat cells. So in short, nagbunot ka ng fat, binalik mo lang din naman. For body recomposition, low moderate intensity cardio works best. Mas manageable, less taxing siya sa recovery. So pag madali ka mag-recover, mas manage yung stress, hindi ka mag-overeat, and mas madali mag-build ng muscles. Yung HIIT, dapat planned talaga siya, paminsan-minsan lang siya. Kung gagawin mo siya, dapat ready rin yung recovery mo. Dahil HIIT may hinder recovery both physically, physiologically, and psychologically. So, some other notes, upper-lower splits, yung mga commonly na nakita sa studies, pero full body, kahit 3 times a week lang, produces similar results. Then, kung kaya mo mag-increase ng volume over time, do it. Dahil higher training volume leads to more muscle growth. So, 3 times a week is already enough. Makikita mo lang na the less often you train, mas mabagal yung progress. Pero mag-i-improve at mag-i-improve ka pa rin. And your training should get gradually harder. Whether nag-increase ka ng reps, ng weight load, or ng set. Basta every training day, as much as possible, mas mahirap siya than your last or previous training sessions. And if you can do more in terms of training volume, do more. Kasi kapag mas maraming sets yung workout mo, mas matagal ka mag-spend ng time sa gym. Ang tanong dyan, do you have the luxury of time spending that amount of time sa gym? And for professionals or yung mga matatandang individuals na gustong mag-recompose, I highly suggest na piliin natin yung low-intensity steady-state cardio. Kasi yun nga, pag nagiging tumatanda tayo, mas mabagal yung recovery. Pag professionals tayo, we tend to exhaust ourselves sa mga ibang bagay na importante sa buhay natin. Trabaho, everything outside training session na nagko-consume energy sa atin, it will really influence your performance in training. So, kung pagod pa kayo sa training, specifically high-intensity cardio, mahirapan kayo makarecover. Pag nahirapan kayo makarecover, mahirap mag-build ng development. And training split, or kung yung pagkasunod ng exercise, hindi na gaano ka-important. I-choose mo lang kung yung gusto mong ayos na may enjoy ka. At saka yung practically applicable sa sitwasyon mo sa gym. Kasi kahit sabihin natin strict ka sa pagkasunod-sunod ng workouts mo, pero pag may example, gagamit ng equipment and wala ka masyadong time na magstay ng matagal sa gym, mamimili ka ng ibang exercise na pwede mo nang gawin for now. Then, babalikan mo na lang yung exercise kapag nabakante na. Then, assess every 8 weeks. Tapos the older you are, the more focus you are on your recovery. If kaya mo na mag-train ng hard, automatic na sa'yo yun. Kailangan mo naman planuhin kung ano yung recovery strategies na i-optimize mo or gagamitin mo para siguradong makabuild ka ng muscles and makapag-lose ka ng fat at the same time. So next is yung nutrition and body recomposition. So based on 4 studies, matataas yung mga ranges ng mga protein intake na pinapatake doon sa mga participants to see if body recomposition happens. So nakita dito ay the more you hit your protein goals, the more assured body recomposition is. So may mga studies na nagbigay ng 3.4 grams bawat kilogram ng bigat ng katawan mo versus 2.3 grams sa bawat kilogram. Yung higher protein group lost more fat mass despite na naka-calorie surplus sila. 2 studies sila nagsabi nito na basta't ino-overeat mo yung protein, okay, hindi siya agad-agad nagiging fat. Baka beneficial din siya for 1, ensuring na may enough protein ka to repair muscle damage when you train. And 2, maybe ang isipin natin dito is hindi porket marataas yung protein intake mo, mas madami kang muscle na madedevelop. It's more of more protein intake, more efficient ka siguro mag-burn ng fat loss. Kasi kapag mataas yung protein intake mo, mas mataas yung digestion metabolism mo. Meaning to say, demanding kasi yung protein sa calories para ma-absorb siya ng katawan mo or ma-breakdown siya. So for example, if you consume 1,000 calories from pure protein, 25% nung 1,000 calories na yun, which is 250, yun yung i-burn ng katawan mo para ma-breakdown at ma-absorb yung mga protein foods. So, isipin mo na lang yung protein gasolina. Metabolism mo yung apoy. So, kapag sinaboy mo yung gasolina sa apoy, alam mo talaga sobra-sobra yung liyab niya. Mataas yung sunog niya. Unlike yung carbs and fat, isipin mo, tubig na may alcohol yung carbs and fat. So, pag sinaboy mo siya sa apoy, liliyab lang saglit pero hindi siya talaga yung tipong ignite ng matagal. So, yun yung analogy na pwede ko ma-share dito. So, if you want to know kung ilang grams of protein per kilogram per body weight yung kailangan nyo i-consume per day, ang formula ay grams of protein multiplied by body weight in kilos, yun yung recommended daily grams of protein. Okay, pero sa study, nakasabi, 2.5 to 3.4, yun yung mas siguradong body recomposition ang pwede mong ma-achieve. Pero, meron tinatawag na protein breakpoint for muscle growth na kung saan, kahit sabihin natin yung mga nagtitake ng 2.5 to 3.4 grams sa bawat kilogram ng body weight nila ay successful sa body recomposition, ang nakita naman nila ay may breakpoint pagdating sa muscle growth. Meaning to say, kahit sa 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight per day lang yung consume mo, pwede mo na ma-maximize yung muscle gain. So, consuming protein more than 1.6 grams per kilogram of your body weight, medyo nagpa-plateau na yung benefit. Wala nang added benefit yung pagkain ng mas maraming protein. So, maybe this is true na more protein is equal to more fat loss kaysa sa more muscle gain due to the thermic effect of food or indigestion metabolism. So, for more assured body recomposition, mag-range kayo na from 1.6 to 2.5 grams per kilogram of your body weight per day as a starting point. So, mga well-trained individuals, 3.4 grams per kilogram of their body weight to enhance fat loss, not really to add more muscle growth along the way. Basta't isipin natin, yung mga matataas yung protein intake, mas na-improve nila yung body composition nila at mas naging successful sila sa recomposition. And we have to still consider na may individual variability pa din. Hindi porket same tayo ng training status, same rin yung progress, yung response sa katawan natin. Pwedeng mag-iba pa rin siya. And fat loss is possible even in a caloric surplus. If yung surplus ay galing sa protein, according to Dr. Campbell. And muscle gain is also possible in calorie deficit basta may adequate protein ka and resistance training. Although mas ma-maximize mo yung muscle gain during calorie surplus kasi If you add calories, mas energized ka, mas kaya mo mag-sustain ng mas mataas sa training volume. Unlike yung nasa deficit ka, the more na marami kang nagiging ginagawa sa training, mas mararamdaman mo na ubusan ka na ng energy. Parang nahihilo ka na, nagugutom ka na. So, muscle gain is possible. Pero, up to a certain point lang. Dahil kulang yung energy mo, hindi ka makapag-sustain ng mas maraming muscle growth. Pero sa body recomposition, ang pinaka-suggested ay either stay in maintenance, tas high protein, or moderate deficit, pero high protein. At hindi natin kailangang isipin kung dapat bang after workout, agad-agad dapat makapag-take tayo ng protein. Ang importante yung overall daily intake natin kaysa dun sa oras kung kailan natin tinake yung mga protein, whether pre-workout or post-workout or pre-bedtime. Pero when reality hits hard, in Philippines, mahal yung protein, di ba? Parang suntok sa buwan yung every week, unless sobrang yaman mo, na mataas talaga yung protein intake mo. Kasi alam naman natin dito sa Pilipinas, ang baba ng sweldo natin, nabibitin tayo, so hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon afford natin ma-achieve yung mga protein requirement natin. So what I suggest is optimize what you can optimize. Kung ito lang yung kaya mo, so be it. Just stay consistent with it. Ang importante, hindi ka tumitigil. Increase mo yung protein intake mo as your financial conditions improve. So, kung medyo tumataas ang sweldo mo at gusto mo talaga maging lean individual, whether babae o lalaki ka, edi pwede mong dagdagan yung budget mo for protein foods. Pero tandaan kasi natin, we grow muscles because we train hard first. Kahit na sabihin natin, pakainin kita ng isang balding protina per day, if you won't train, hindi lalaki yung muscles mo. Okay? Dahil ang muscle growth is largely dependent sa training mo. So, the good thing about yung nutrition when it comes to body recomposition, you don't have to do it aggressively. So, you have all the time, okay, para maghintay ng gradual fat loss and gradual muscle gain. So, medyo low pressure siya. So, agree ka ba doon na low pressure siya? So, yeah, let me know sa comment section. And next, yung non-nutrition and non-training factors na pwede maka-apekto sa body recomposition mo. So, of course, yung isa sa mga overlooked variable, yung sleep. Ako, aminado ko, hanggang ngayon, may problem pa rin ako sa sleep regularity. Na kung saan minsan 1 a.m., 2 a.m. na ako nakatulog. But as much as possible, I try to get quality sleep. At least 6 hours. Okay, dahil yung sleep restriction, sabi natin 1 hour less, tas 5 times a week, very regular, can cause dieting people to lose more muscle kaysa fat, around 85%. So medyo nakakatakot, okay? Medyo nakaka-feel ng hopeless dahil kung lagi kang puyat, dahil nagsisipag ka lang naman sa buhay, inaayos mo yung tulog mo, ano pa naman yung saysay, no, na mag-get lean ka pa, magbabody recompose ka pa, kung di mo rin naman makukuha yung muscle building goals na gusto mo ma-achieve to successfully do body recomposition. Yung mga well-rested individuals, kahit same in deficit, lost 81% of weight na galing sa fat. So in short, yung pagkakaroon ng enough sleep makes you build more muscles faster and lose more fat efficiently. Dahil yung sleep deprivation, dahil bumaba energy levels mo, nare-reduce yung training volume. So, kumukunti yung ginagawa mo every workout session mo. It increases perceived effort. So, yung threshold mo or yung tolerance mo sa fatigue, mas mababa. Okay, mas mabilis ka mapagod. And it impairs recovery. So, meron isang naging study na sleep plus exercise versus exercise only, mas mabilis nakapag-lose ng fat mass yung mga group na may tulog plus nag-exercise compared sa mga exercise lang pero walang tulog kahit same yung program. So my suggestion here is treat sleep as a training variable as well. Kung di ka makakuha ng complete 7 to 8 hours of sleep per day, ang unahin mo ay number 1, maging regular mo ni sleeping time mo. Number 2, ma-increase mo yung quality ng sleep mo. And number 3, if hindi ka makakuha ng complete sleep sa gabi, try to accumulate minutes of sleep in the daytime. So yung mga napping, malaking bagay yan. Okay, imagine, makanap ka ng 20 minutes. So, tas 6 hours na nakatulog kagabi. That's 6 hours and 20 minutes of sleeping. So, it can still help you cope with stress and increase your recovery capacity. So, if ever na meron kang difficulty sa sleep, ito yung mga non-supplement enhancers na pwede mong i-take. So, yung sunlight, pag-exercise, yung wala ng caffeine by early afternoon, yung pag-reduce ng blue light exposure, yung mga stretching, kasi stretching primes your muscles to relax. So, less tense ka, mas madali kang aantukin. Yung pag-avoid ng mga intense training sa gabi, dahil kapag after ka mag-train intensively, meron kang tinatawag na oxygen debt or yung afterburn effect. So, you burn more calories by putting your body into steady state. So, kapag yun yung init na nararamdaman mo after an intense workout. Of course, good mattress, cuddle, na jowa. Yee. And yung mga well-studied supplements, I personally use this ashwagandha, magnesium glycinate for muscle relaxation, and my magnesium bisglycinate for sleep quality. Pero small and modest lang effect nito. So kahit sabihin natin nagtitake kayo nito, pero hindi nyo pa rin ma-optimize yung environment nyo for sleeping, at wala kayong good sleeping habits, mahirap kayong increase yung sleeping quality ninyo. So, again, these are just supplements or supporting substance na so far safe daw pero small and modest lang yung effect. Also, yung hormones, kailangan natin isipin yan. So, dieting plus lack of sleep, okay? Hindi nagiging conducive yung environment for your hormone. Tumataas yung cortisol levels mo masyado, so masyado kang stress. Kapag masyado mataas yung cortisol level, nagpapromote siya ng muscle catabolism, yung pag-breakdown ng muscles natin. Tsaka mas nagiging mahigpit tayo mag-release ng fat or mas sensitive tayo mag-store ng fat. May certain amount of cortisol na tayong kailangan itaas para, of course, mag-respond tayo ng tama sa training. Na-reduce din yung testosterone levels natin na pwedeng maging dahilan para maging limited yung pag-gain ng muscles natin. Pati yung growth hormones natin na importante sa recovery, isa sa nag-respond for repairing your muscles and regrowing it, and malaki yung role niya for body recomposition. And lastly, kapag kulang sa sleep tapos stressed ka pa, tumataas yung ghrelin mo o yung hormone na nagsisignal sa brain mo na nagugutom ka kahit hindi naman. So, yun yung mga bagay na pwede natin consider outside nutrition and training. So, if you're wondering bakit maraming natural bodybuilders na kahit consistently mag-train, strict yung diet, nag-lose pa rin sila ng muscle mass when they compete. It's because mess up na rin yung hormones nila. And naging sacrificial organs yung mga muscles. So, wala nang choice yung katawan nila kundi to burn those muscles para masustain yung daily operation ng katawan nila for survival. And next, to the last, second to the last, yung measurement consideration. So, maraming mga extensive equipment for measuring body recomposition. Yung fat mass versus muscle mass. Like yung DEXA scan, skin folds, BIA, hydrostatic weighing scale, ultrasound. Okay. However, mahal tong mga to. Hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon available to. And ang nare-read neto is yung skeletal muscle tissue component na composed din ng 75% water yung muscles natin, 25 to 20% protein, tas glycogen. So, yung readings can be inflated. Tapos, yung mga short-term scale weight is unreliable for tracking recomposition, lalo pag araw-araw kasi nagpa-fluctuate yung weight natin eh. So, DEXA scan might be the gold standard in research setting. So, mababa yung margin of error niya compared sa mga ibang readily available body measurements. Pero yun nga, mahal eh. Hindi lahat ng tao may access doon. So, ang practical recommendation ko is, unang-una, hindi naman kailangan na eksaktong same weight ka nung obese ka, tapos after ilang weeks, nag-recompose ka, same weight pa rin. Kahit yung small to medium deviation from your starting weight won't make you a failure. So, kunyari, nag-start ka ng 85 kilos, nag-body recompose ka, 85 or 80 kilos ka. Pero ang tinagal nun, a year. So, meaning to say, hindi ka man sobrang nagbago yung weight mo. It can also tell na hindi ka rin sobrang nag-lose ng muscle mass in a span of year kahit nagda-diet ka at nag-lose ka or nasa fat loss phase ka. So, hindi man significant yung difference in a year in terms of your difference sa body weight mo. Pero, practically speaking, pag nakita mo yung appearance mo, ibang-iba na yan. where you lost more fat, then you retain more muscles. So mag-focus ka sa progress photo, tsaka kung lumalakas ka, check mo yung mga dati mong damit kung mas maganda yung fit sa'yo or nasusuot mo na ito. Kasi machines only give numbers. Yung affirmation sa sasabihin ng tao na, uy, iba-iba na yung itsura mo. Yan yung talagang more reliable validations of your progress. So my practical insights, more than half of the body recomposition problems can be solved by consistency. Kailangan nyo muna maging consistent. Kahit sabihin natin, kaya mag-optimize ng protein, ng training, ng recovery activities nyo, and stress management nyo. If di nyo naman siya lagi gagawin, mahirapan kayo mag-body recompose. And you have to focus more on the practicality than the optimality. May mga science-based people kasi na they are really obsessed on the technicalities of doing weight training na kung saan dapat ganito yung pwesto para mas mataas yung muscle growth. But if you're gonna read all those papers about muscle growth and exercise technique, similar na lang naman yung results. Ang sinasabi lang, if you can optimize, optimize. Pero the basics still works. Kahit yung most beginner exercise gagawin ng advanced lifters, magbe-benefit pa rin sila doon. And you have to also to make peace early with the trade-offs na kung saan mabagal yung muscle gain, mabagal din yung fat loss when you do body recomposition. So, hindi ka kaagad makakita ng progress in the span of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or at least 6 weeks. Kasi 8 weeks may nakikita ng progress eh. Pero, that's numbers. Yung mga measurement na ginamit dun, extensive nga. So, pwedeng makita na nagbibuild ka ng muscle pero hindi ka pa talaga totally nag-lose ng fat maximally. So, pwedeng iba yung pagtingin practically. Sa numbers, okay. Pero sa body appearance, nakikita mo, ba't parang tabain ako ngayon? Pero mas malaki yung muscles ko. Kasi nag-build ka ng muscles pero hindi pa fully ikaw nag-lose ng body fat levels. So, minimum of 6 months ang body recomposition. And body recomposition requires identity and behavioral set. So, kailangan mong magkaroon ng revisiting ng identity mo na kung saan, dahil matagal nga siya from someone na couch potato, dapat pinaniniwala mo ni sarili mo na you're someone who trains, someone who is an athlete, para yung perceived image mo will translate into action. Na magtitrain ka lagi kasi gusto mong panindigan na ikaw ay athlete, ikaw ay someone who trains. So, hindi lang basta-basta training program ang kailangan mo. It's a identity and behavioral audit. And body recomposition will sometimes require you to sit out some things na marirealize mo, yung mga bagay pala yung sit out mo ay hindi pala urgently kailangan. You also have to know how to pivot and switch. Na kapag ito na yung progress mo after ilang months, kailangan mamimili ka talaga ng isang goal. Whether maximize the fat loss and preserve those muscles, or gain those muscles at i-manage yung fat gain in the coming months. Low pressure man ang body recomposition, but it requires a highly demanding approach in terms of planning and accountability. Since mahaba siya eh. So, as much as mataas yung margin of error mo, ang kino-consider mo dito, hindi mo sayang yung panahon na i-allot mo for body recomposition. So, kailangan maganda yung pagpaplano at may support system ka. So, that's what the science says with regards to the body recomposition. And hopefully, marami kayong tutunan dito sa episode natin about body recomposition kasi I think masyado ng, maybe, sa akin lang, saturated yung market na for people who needs to cut, for people who needs to bulk. May mga lumalapit kasi sa akin na, Coach, okay naman sa upper body pero yung chan ko lang talaga yung panira eh. So I thought of, why hindi ako mag-discuss about body recomposition? Kasi that's what I can recommend to them. Wala naman sila hinahabol oras, they can do it long term, but they don't know how to do it right. So that's body recomposition. And before I end this episode, so as you can see in the past weeks, nag-launch ako ng bago kong high accountability fitness transformation system. Yung tinatawag na Protocol Recom. So, exactly dito sa program to, in-apply ko kung yung sinasabi ng science. And I built a system na hindi lang ikaw bibigyan ng program, hindi lang ikaw bibigyan ng diet, pero tutulungan ko on how to navigate your life and how to do it safely. Meaning to say, kapag pumasok ang isang tao na gusto mag-body recomposition dito, hindi lang siya coach ng isang coach, but he will be coached by 4 specialists: training, nutrition, counselor, and a physician na magsisigurong mag-move forward sila, they will stay on track, lalo na if you're gonna do it long term. So, nagpapasok kami ng 60 cohort clients na after 36 weeks. Kasi 3 phases siya eh. May reset phase, yung phase 1, may building phase, and yung rebuild phase, yung pa-summer na. So, reveal na nila ko anong definition ng katawan nila. I-expose nila yung hard-earned muscle sila and i-strip na nila yung mga fat nila para maging at their best or peakest form yung katawan nila. Na finally, mag-build ng confidence din nila. So, marami kayong makukuha dito, yung mga training program or yung tracking system na meron lahat ng mga specialists so that they'll have the information with them at gagamitin nila as reference on coming up with recommendations na practical sa inyo. So, hanggang June 1, papasok kami ng mga enrollments. And kapag nag-close enrollment, baka di na kami magpasok for next year na kami mag-start ulit. So, if you're really serious about getting lean and dumating yung time na hindi mo na kailangan ng coach, hindi mo na kailangan magpa-coach kasi alam mo na lahat, ituturo namin lahat kung paano gawin ang tama dito sa Protocol Recom so that after 3 phases, you won't need us anymore. You can do everything independently. So, nasa caption, yung application form, you can book a discovery call in case na kailangan nyo ng clarity on how to do, ano yung magiging journey nyo once you get into our program. So, yun for this episode. Hopefully, marami kayong natutunan. I shot this episode dahil marami din naka-attend ng webinar and i-delete ko na kasi yung recording ng webinar. So, I uploaded an episode for that na exactly sa kung ano yung pinresent ko ng previous webinar. So, if ever na hindi ka mag-enroll, dahil for budget constraint kasi hindi naman mura yung coaching ko, but you're really happy what you got here or yung mga takeaways mo from this episode, comment ka dito sa YouTube or sa Spotify ko. Share mo yung mga takeaways mo and your thoughts sa kung anong mga nakuha mo from this episode. So yun lang, don't forget to subscribe dahil marami pa kayong upload na mga high-value fitness education with some experts with me or gagawin ko na siya mag-isa. So yun lang guys, stay present and always keep it legit. Bye.